It's the Morgan You Know comedy movie draft.
There's so many ways you can read something that's funny. What are you watching a movie for if you got to read it?
Who will win? Cowboy Derek,
Crazy characters such as you guys.
Rachel,
But just like you, I feel like that's something I quote consistently.
Rod,
I'm in the trenches taking grenades, John.
Old Man Chris,
I mean, you're supposed to be a movie guy.
Jimmy. Personal shots here, come on!
That's why it's my wild card.
The Morgan You Know podcast, available on all podcast providers. Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan You Know's podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris. Chris, what's your old man take today?
Let me talk.
It doesn't matter what your old man take today is, because finally The Rock has come back to SmackDown. Rod doesn't have any hot takes. Chris isn't an old man. We have The Rock coming back to SmackDown. It was absolutely electrifying. It was amazing. And it all worked out well because he and Pat McAfee were at the Colorado State game for ESPN. Nice little short drive down. McAfee comes out. Theory comes out. Everyone's enjoying it. And all of a sudden, Rod, Pat McAfee goes, well, you know what that means? How awesome was that?
It was amazing, right? I was absolutely not prepared for that. I had sort of given up on a Rock appearance because of WrestleMania not happening and that making so much sense. And then I also got to think to myself, okay, sure, he was in Boulder for ESPN, but there's also not any movies or TV shows being lined up right now. So perhaps, just perhaps, maybe this will open the doors to another couple of appearances from The Rock. But I was absolutely amazed to see him, and I yelled out in such exultation that the Mrs. Morgan You Know had to come running through the house to find out what possibly was the matter. And I said, nothing's the matter. The Rock is back on SmackDown.
Chris?
I was in disbelief. Like, until he showed up on the screen, I didn't believe it was going to be him. I thought it was going to be The Miz doing one of his gigs or something weird. But when he came out, I was speechless, for lack of a better word, because I didn't have any. All right. It was unbelievable. It was phenomenal. It was great. It was everything we wanted. It just, what did they do? They had a 24% increase in viewership on that, 103 million social views on
103 million people? I don't think so, but okay. Yeah.
103 million social views. It was crazy. It was great. I think we could only grant the fact that there is a strike going on is the fact that this was able to happen in the first place. I think if writers were back in, he wouldn't even have been in Colorado for game day, and this would have never been able to take place.
Yeah, correct. I agree with you completely there. And him coming out, I thought was just an amazing show of how over he is and what they can do with him perhaps moving forward if the strike goes. And we'll talk about that here in a second. One of the things, though, he should have said, you are an a-hole, not the other word that Fox bleeped out because it took so much out. That crowd was amazing, Rod. He said he was from A-Town. He should have said a-hole. I think he should have said that, maybe just forgot about it, Rod, but it was still pretty cool to see the back and forth of the crowd.
Yeah, it definitely was. You could tell that crowd was hot. We all knew what was going on, and I can't help but think The Rock got caught up in the moment a little bit there. And like, wouldn't it be cool if I could show how much power I wield and I could get these people to say this thing for as long as I possibly want them to? So I think there may have been a little bit of that going on. And McAfee, of course, is not going to be someone who's not going to keep egging things to go along. So I think we just had a little case of people getting caught up there. And I kind of feel bad for the Fox guy because I appreciate how he was trying to bleep out as little as he could, but then there's the timing, he just couldn't quite get it. So I really feel bad for the guy, whoever that dude is, Terry, Brian, John, Carl, Frank, whatever your name might be. Good work, brother. I feel bad for you.
I think that's a Carl. I really do think that's a Carl. So this opens up a lot of questions. Is this just a one-off? Is this starting something more? Rock gave an interview where he said it was basically done, that he was going to face Reigns a couple years ago. COVID hit. Things didn't happen then. He did talk to John Cena a little bit in the back, and I thought that was funny because you could tell Cena was going to laugh, and then Rock just called him out on it. I like that. Would you like to see Reigns versus Rock at WrestleMania? Chris King, give me an old man take on this one.
I would love to see it, but I want to see it without Reigns having the belts. If Reigns doesn't have the belts, it's an open match. Anybody can win. They can have The Rock get over. If Reigns has the belt, they're not giving the belts to The Rock, right?
No, I highly doubt that they would give the belts to The Rock, but they did give it to him for a 3-month run a few years ago. So you never know. Rod, you want to see Reigns and Rock at Mania?
No, I don't. I don't want to see The Rock in a match that is promoted for an extended period of time. And so then we all build up our expectations and we all see The Rock still as this actual superhero because he's played a superhero so many times and he doesn't wear knee braces to the ring. And other than a few bags under his eyes, he looks a little bit the same as the Rocky we remember wrestling. But I'm sorry, Father Time catches up with all of us. All right. He's not going to be able to do it as well. And the framework that the WWE put down for what Stone Cold Steve Austin gave us at WrestleMania, I think is a much better platform for us to get something from The Rock that will leave a good taste in our mouth for his appearance and not something where we're like, oh man, that match wasn't that great, which as much as I love John Cena, he leaves us feeling that way a few times in his matches recently. I love seeing him there. The crowd pops for him. That's nice that John gets to live a different part of his career now because we all know how much he got booed back in the day, but his matches aren't great. So, no, I don't want to see Rock versus Reigns.
Okay, so I saw this. I can't remember where I saw it from, so I can't give the credit where credit's due. But how about this scenario for WrestleMania? It's in Philadelphia, of course, 2 nights. Saturday night, we have Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. The winner goes on to Sunday night to face the winner of Saturday night's The Rock versus Roman Reigns for the title. Reigns wins and Cody Rhodes wins. They both have matches on that Saturday. Sunday, they go out for the main event and Cody Rhodes wins. Thoughts?
That's a crazy take. Have they done anything like that in a WrestleMania before where the people have to fight on Saturday to keep fighting on Sunday? I like that idea a lot. I do think that's a great way to get Cody the belt. I think it would be cooler if The Rock beats Reigns on Saturday and then comes out and just gives the belts to Cody on Sunday.
Right. So to answer your question, Chris, they did something kind of like this at WrestleMania. I think it was 32 in the Superdome where Daniel Bryan and Triple H faced each other to start the show. And this was like back when it was a one day where Daniel Bryan beat Triple H and whoever won that match got to go into the triple threat match at the end of the show, which was the Orton and Batista match. Daniel Bryan won and then he went on to win the title. So that's something similar that they've done, but not when it's been 2 days. Rod.
What about the tournament? What about the tournament that Macho won? Come on, it's a little bit like WrestleMania. What is that? 3? Is that 3 or 2? Or
that
Macho
was 4.
won the
That
tournament?
was 4. And yeah, that was 4.
Macho, come on! I love Macho. Anytime I can get Macho on the pod, Jimmy, you know I'm going to do it.
I love Macho Man. There's so many deep dives on TikTok and Instagram where it's like, have you ever cried, Macho Man? Oh yeah, I've cried because everyone can cry. You know,
he's the
Macho
best.
Man.
He's the absolute best. I'm
but,
sorry, I like this.
So sure, does that appeal to you at all, or would you not want to sully a Reigns Rock?
No,
okay.
why does Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns, either one of them, need those matches, right? Why do either one of them need those matches?
True.
Like, I understand bringing back John Cena and The Rock, but I don't understand bringing back John Cena and The Rock and having them mess with those guys. We all hate Austin Theory, but there's something to be said for Austin Theory was the one that was allowed to be in the ring with The Rock, all right? I just think that we all want to ignore that fact, but that probably isn't going to mean nothing. The WWE isn't great at long-term storytelling, but they always know exactly what they're doing when they put people together.
Okay, so I think we buried the lead here a little bit, gentlemen. Speaking of something that doesn't mean anything, Rod, your boy's in trouble. Your boy is in trouble. Chad Gable had a terrific matchup with Gunther. We thought they might get another match at the pay-per-view. And what happened to your boy on Monday night, Rod?
I'm guessing Vince McMahon happened to my boy is the actual answer, but the kayfabe answer on television was a big bad Bronson Reed was decided to be unleashed again because this seems to be the wave of Bronson Reed. We forget about him for a couple weeks. Then he comes back and they remind us, hey, this dude's big and athletic and can actually beat the crap out of people if he wants to. So we have a reappearance of Bronson Reed, and it means bad things for the Alpha Academy and bad things, especially for my guy, Chad Gable.
Yeah, Chris, Vince McMahon really does see Chad Gable as that Shorty G character. And I know he's your favorite character of all time. And I went down a bad rabbit hole with that. So that's on me. But I don't know. It's kind of sad, isn't it, to see someone kind of be brought up and then just goodbye.
I mean, Adam Pearce even said it on the show, right? That was a career-defining match. And then they have him go out on Bronson Reed. But, like, I will say this. The Raw that was this past Monday was a really good Raw. There was a lot of matches. There wasn't a whole lot of talking in between matches or in the ring other than a little bit at the beginning. I thought it was really good. And we got to see some big athletic men. We saw Bronson Reed do some great stuff off the ring, off the ropes. And we even saw Ibar do a moonsault off the top rope, which I thought was pretty crazy. It was a pretty good Raw. We got to see some athletic big men. But I do think I agree with Rod and you where they did Gable a little bit dirty.
It'll be interesting to see what happens next if he's doing jobs to Ivar and to people like that. Yeah, we're in trouble, I think, on the Chad Gable fan club, Rod. I think we're in trouble.
We most definitely are. And I want to, again, let's shout out once again us being able to see some version of the New Day versus the Viking Raiders. I mean, I'll tell you what, Vince knows for some reason that we don't want Chad Gable as the Intercontinental Champion, but he knows that we want to continue to see the Viking Raiders and the New Day go at one another. He knows that we want to see Ivar plant Kofi Kingston with huge moves all match long. Kofi's going to kick out, and then Trouble in Paradise is barely going to land on Ivar's head, and all of a sudden he's down for the 3. That's what Vince knows we want to see.
That's wrestling. But, Rod, one of your other favorites, Ciampa, looks like he might be on the pay-per-view for that Intercontinental Championship match that we are going to. Looks like your fate, well, maybe not Gable, but some of your favorites are in line here. What do you think about Ciampa being the next victim to Gunther?
Listen, I was, of course, going to lead with The Rock if you wouldn't have so brilliantly brought our podcast in the way you did this week with the Rock news, of course. The other thing I would have said maybe I was hot about was Gable. But then, I didn't have quite the passion burning in me like I do for a lot of those opens because of the Ciampa sub-in, right? If you give me the Ciampa character that we have now, right, where he's kind of doing the AC Slater, sitting on the chair backwards in front of a garage door in the back, right? Just telling people how he wants to beat the hell out of folks. And then he comes down to the ring and he actually beats the hell out of folks. I'm all for Ciampa. Also, Jimmy, you keep saying DIY's coming. So if Ciampa can elevate himself a little bit, how big's that pop going to be when Johnny G finally shows back up, Jimmy?
Don't test me. Don't test me there. That would be amazing. For him to come back. I like Ciampa. I think they would have if they're given time, Chris King, they're going to have a really good match because Ciampa's very good in the ring. And obviously we know Gunther is as well.
Yeah, we know Gunther is. I am not as familiar with Ciampa as you guys, but I do recognize that he has ability in the ring. I'm really still hoping beyond hope that LA Knight gets that shot at Gunther. I want to see our boy LA Knight break that streak, get that belt. Let Gable go after the U.S. title. Let Ciampa give Gunther a run for his money, but give the belt to LA Knight.
Hey, Chris, I'm sorry. LA Knight is on SmackDown. He cannot go to Raw. It's their brand exclusivity. Well,
listen, are we going to talk LA Knight here? Because I'm a little worried. Actually about.
Okay. Let's go to LA Knight here because that's a really good transition. Thank you. Rod, what are your worries about LA Knight? And then I will tell you you're probably right.
I mean, if we're having him all of a sudden, we got Heyman and Solo are worried about him, right? And he's mentioning the name Roman Reigns. I mean, is this just a Cesaro situation here, Jimmy, right? To borrow somebody from the past who just kind of comes. I mean, I don't think that of LA Knight, right? But I'm just talking about a guy who gets a storyline, rises up, Vince gives him a match, and then he's like, okay, fine, dude, I'm done with you. I'm dispatching on from you much the way that he is Gable. And I worry that we might be rushing LA up there too much too soon. So, hey, U.S. title, Intercontinental title, whatever. I don't want to see him fight Roman Reigns right now.
Chris, your thoughts on Rod's take there?
I mean, I'm kind of with Rod. I don't think I want to see him go for the Universal belts yet. I don't think that they would give him those belts. I think we have a much better chance of them deciding to give him the Intercontinental or the U.S. title. Maybe Rollins' belt, but he doesn't seem to have any kind of push towards that.
Hey, whoa, stop it.
What I would like to see is my boy Drew McIntyre get another shot at Roman Reigns to get those belts. That's what I want to see. I want to see my boy Drew with those belts. I want to see LA Knight with the Intercontinental. I'd like to see Lashley get back the U.S. title again, just because I think
Lashley's a manager now.
Some shine. He can. I'm just saying,
Chris. So Rod, LA Knight, the fact that he put Roman Reigns' name in his mouth. I got that right eventually. Does worry me a lot because of what you exact said. And I think the Cesaro parallel is right on par. I think LA Knight is higher than Cesaro was at that time. I think that's fair.
And nobody was buying Cesaro merch. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have the crowd behind him.
But if we have an LA Knight Roman Reigns match it's not. I don't think it's going to be Survivor Series. It could be. It might be the December pay-per-view. Could be Royal Rumble. They could have something at the Royal Rumble if it's that big. But again, everyone knows that Roman's not losing this belt until Mania, if he even loses at Mania at this point, because Roman may never lose the belt again, and it's just whatever, right? I'm worried that you are correct in he will face Roman, he will get beaten by Roman, and then he will go back to fighting the Miz's, the Austin Theories, and things like that, and kind of be stuck there instead of even giving a chance at that title or a championship.
Too much too soon can definitely happen, right? And because if he goes up, like you said, he ain't winning it. So where does he go after, right? So where's the momentum go? We're all like, yes, LA Knight, and then we're just like, we sort of get what we want as the people. He's fighting against Roman in the main event of a pay-per-view, and then he loses, and we're kind of like, let's move on to the next thing. What's happening over here with Gunther? You know what I mean? Is Drew McIntyre actually going to become a bad guy? And then LA falls out of there, right? If he's still basically always fighting against the man, right? What made Stone Cold Steve Austin so compelling every time out? He was always going to go against Vince McMahon. Everything was always going to be down against him. He was always going to strive to rise up. And I think that's kind of what we want to see out of LA Knight. So if all of a sudden he's got a shot at the belt, what's he going to rise to anymore? That's the best thing he can get. And then if he loses, okay, you went out on your bootstraps and the story's over. And I certainly don't want that for our guy, because I think he's quite charismatic. And there it is. Drink at home. Rod said charismatic.
If you look at the United States Championship right now, Mysterio and the LWO kind of talking, no one's really invested into that. You can see people really didn't see, hey, I would love to fight you. Yeah, no one really cared, honestly, at this point. You put that belt on LA Knight, start every show off with that, it's going to get the belt over, because that's one thing where the person would get the belt over more, and then when he gets beat, it's bigger. If LA Knight goes in and has a 9 to 15 minute match with Roman Reigns and he gets beat, he will get beat clean, by the way. There will not be a Solo Sikoa interference. I don't believe so in that matchup. Yeah, you're right. It's like, okay, you lost. Now what are you going to do? I agree with that completely. All right, Chris, let's talk about your boy. He's gutless. He doesn't care about others. Drew McIntyre saw a friend of his being beaten to a pulp, and he just walked away.
A friend? Is that what friends do?
Coworker.
Just listen, there's a lot of coworkers I've had in the past that I'd probably just turn my back on as well. My boy Drew did what he needed to do, did what he believed in. He beat Jimmy like he wanted to, and he left the ring. Jimmy made the choice to super kick the Judgment Day. Jimmy made the choice to be a part of the bloodline and keep Drew from getting the belts. I'm sorry, did I say Jimmy? I meant Jay. It's his fault, not Drew's. Drew's my guy. I stand by him.
Wow, Chris's descent into madness continues, Jimmy. His descent into madness continues here. Listen to him. This is amazing.
I love it. This is fantastic. I like how they're doing the very slow Drew McIntyre turn. It's going to probably be another 2-3 weeks before that actually does happen.
He came out wearing white, Jimmy. That's good guy colors. What are you talking about turning heel?
100% bad guy colors.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, Chris, there's nowhere for your guy to go as a baby face right now. There's nowhere for him to go as a baby face. There's too much space in that area right now. You got KO occupying that space. You got Sammy occupying that space. You got Cody Rhodes being there, right? You got Seth Rollins essentially being there. There's too many baby faces. Drew can find more heat and more main event possibilities as a bad guy. I'm all for it. And I'm also for your descent into madness and for excusing every one of Drew McIntyre's bad decisions he's going to make.
I really think you
carrying Cross. We're going to see a lot more of that kind of stuff.
I really think you guys are misconstruing what's going on here. He's not turning heel. He's getting serious. He's getting focused. He's taking revenge on those who had wronged him, and he's making his way back up to Roman Reigns.
Because he won the belt in front of 0 people. And Kofi won the belt in front of 82,000 people. For sure. Like I said, I like it, and I think that's going. Speaking about a lot of people, we got to give our shout out to our girl, the man, Becky Lynch. 850,000 people watched NXT, where Becky Lynch became the new NXT Women's Champion. Dom is the North American champion. I want to are you guys watching this at all, or are you just kind of getting your info from Raw, Rod?
Info from Raw at the moment. I, of course, watched my guy Seth Rollins, but Dominic Mysterio and the Bloodline are not enough for me to turn over to NXT. And I absolutely didn't see a scenario where Becky Lynch was going to show up on NXT and lose. So I assumed that this is what was going to be coming out once she went down there.
Chris?
Yeah, I have yet to watch an episode of NXT.
Ever?
Wow.
We need to get you one of your, you know what? You're going to get a Gargano Ciampa NXT match to watch. You're going to get that for next week. So
more homework.
Yeah, more homework. But they just did such a great rating and that's really cool. Even bigger than Seth Rollins did when he went there, which I thought was pretty neat. You know, nice little little family back and forth. Speaking of Seth Rollins, this could turn into a 3-way at Fastlane with Nakamura, Ricochet, and Rollins. I don't know if it will. I kind of would rather just do the Nakamura and Rollins. I know there's the stipulation factor in there. Rod, would you want to just see another one-on-one matchup, or do you want to see a triple threat?
I hadn't thought about Ricochet possibly being inserted in that match and making it a triple threat. Unlike you, I like a little triple threat a little more than you do. I understand that there's only a certain way that matches are going to end, and that can get a little bit old, but I just like the hijinks that can ensue in a 3-way, right? The infinite possibilities that are, so to speak, at the end of a match. So yeah, but I don't know, man. I feel like we've tried to give Ricochet his bumps before, and it just never really seems to happen for him, right? The crowd likes him to a point, and then they just never really seem to go any further with it. So I don't know, man. I'd much rather see Seth and Shinsuke go at it, but a guy like Ricochet can add an awful lot to a match. So perhaps he takes the bigger bumps and Seth and Shinsuke don't have to. So I guess it could be entertaining.
And that's all we want is entertainment, because we don't think Seth is going to lose that match at all. A couple more things I want to hit on for sure. Natalya came back to face Becky Lynch. Obviously, random, kind of a random shot for her, but Becky picked up the win there. Kevin Owens still doesn't trust Jey Uso. I love Kevin Owens. I love everything he does. Let's keep going with that. Owens and Uso, I'm fine with that as well, guys.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Well, this is one second for the listeners at home. I have a little kid behind me who just said Kevin Owens sucks. So if you could please do me a favor, Chris, and talk about that, I appreciate it. I'm going to go destroy somebody just real quick. Okay.
But this is what I'm talking about, because Kevin Owens is doing the same exact thing that Drew McIntyre is doing. You guys are telling me that Drew's turning heel, but you can still just love everything Kevin Owens does, and he's doing the same thing that Drew is.
No, if you go back podcasts ago, I predicted the heel turn for KO weeks ago. Go back and find the audio evidence of me saying that very thing on this podcast, Chris.
You're ridiculous, Chris. That's all I have to say about that. Let's see. What else do we have?
Wait a minute,
going on
Jimmy.
here?
Can somebody on this podcast please give some flowers to main event Jey Uso? I mean, honestly, we barely talked about when Cody
We need
Rhodes
to talk
running
more.
back.
Yep.
We barely talked about that. We've barely talked about him on Raw. And we have a thing that we call Pop Watch, right? And I love looking up pops, and we talked about the Bad Bunny pop, and we didn't even mention how huge the Rock pop was, right? I mean, it's on par with when Austin came back that time during the Attitude Era to wipe out the ring and help Rock win the title back. So, but, all right. I lost my train of thought because I got off on a pop watch. What was I saying here, Jimmy?
You were talking about main event Jey Uso and how we need to talk about him a little bit.
The pops
more.
that he's getting right now are up there, right? So we have this thing harnessed, and it's also what you talk about so often, right? When we have this power, it's all about where do we go with it. And right now, I'm a little bit scared at where we think we're taking Jey Uso, because there's just a little bit too much Judgment Day involved with Jey Uso. Jey Uso's hot enough right now that he doesn't need to be in a story with the Judgment Day like everybody else in the WWE, and that worries me, Jim.
Everyone has to be with the Judgment Day because that's kind of their gimmick right now. And I don't see. We need to get away from that. You're right. He is getting really good pops. He can be somebody that they build up and really go to face of Seth Rollins. I think that would be something that we could see. And that world title is built for someone like Jey Uso. Honestly, built for someone like LA Knight as well, where it's a world championship, but it's not the real world championship. Roman Reigns has that one. So I just think that I think that's a good point. I really do. Two more names I want to bring up before we head out here. Does anyone know who Jade Cargill is, gentlemen?
I do.
No.
Chris King. It's AEW.
That's why I don't know who he is.
It's not a he.
First of all,
it's a she.
First of all, female. Second of all, just text you a picture. She is it's her Wikipedia page. She is the epitome of what a WWE superstar looks like in the women's division. And she is heavily rumored to be going to WWE because her contract ended with AEW. I think this is a very good move for our listeners who know who she is and have seen her wrestle, because she isn't that crisp in the ring yet. She has the look that Vince McMahon is dying for. Muscular. That's all he's dying for, is muscular looks. Very unique in the ring. I think with wrestling, better female wrestlers. No shade on AEW, but they just don't have as many. She could really do well here, but I think the schedule will be interesting. The matches will be interesting, how she does it. I like Jade Cargill to WWE, Rod.
I love taking shots at AEW here, but I will echo every sentiment that you just had, because you took a shot at AEW yourself and said they don't have great female wrestlers. So I appreciate that out of you. You usually try to stick up for AEW on this podcast, but you're absolutely right. She's going to get a chance to come over to where the big girls play. All right. She's going to get a chance to be in the ring with Bianca Belair. She's going to get a chance to be in the ring with the Queen, Charlotte Flair. She's going to get a chance to be in the ring with the Man, Becky Lynch. She's going to be able to fight with someone like Bayley, who absolutely elevates anybody they fight with. There's so many people that Jade Cargill is going to be able to do her thing with. And Jimmy, you're right, though. You talk about it all the time. It's going to be interesting to see how the matches go, because there's people in the WWE that are not going to like her not being able to take care of them when they wrestle matches. So if she's a little raw and people are getting hurt and things are not going off the way they're supposed to, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
She's, Chris, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at her yet, but she's basically etched out of stone.
Yeah, she looked like she's been a professional bodybuilder for a while.
Yeah, she's very good there, and hopefully we have some rejuvenation there. We can always use some more solid wrestlers in the women's division. And finally, one last name I'd like to bring up: CM Punk. Are we going to see him back in the WWE in 2023 or 2024? Ever? Here's my thoughts on it, gentlemen. He's 100% coming back, and it might even be in the Royal Rumble, the 10th year anniversary of him leaving the WWE. Why? Because why not? Bring him in. He can say some really kind of out there things about people, no one in particular. Throw shade on some people. Again, no one in particular. I definitely see him coming back, Rod, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if I like it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Let's bring a guy to a workplace that literally the last 2 times in his last workplace they tried to bring him back. He got in a fight with somebody like almost instantly, right? Let's bring that guy into the locker room. Let's bring a guy who has a out of control ego and is a bit of a hothead, and because there's nobody who has an out of control ego or is a hothead on the WWE roster. So no, by all means, let's just add CM Punk to the roster. I do not understand why CM Punk is at the level he is at. And so I'm just going to sit out because I'm not going to get the CM Punk heads coming at me. But I do not get the CM Punk love. I do not get why this guy continues to get chance after chance after chance. And quite frankly, other than a couple of matches, I don't see what's so special about this dude.
Okay, let me ask you a couple questions, Jimmy, because I am a person who has not ever seen CM Punk wrestle. All right.
Okay.
I didn't even watch him when he tried to go over to the UFC. I am aware of who he is, and I'm aware of some of the troubles he's had. Let me ask you this. Is he where he's at as a professional wrestler because he is such a good heel, because he is good at getting people over? Is that what the draw is? Is he that technical in the ring? Is he good like a Chris Jericho is at getting people over?
Okay, very loaded question there, and I appreciate that. So, CM Punk, this was back. This is back when WWE just bought ECW's library, ECW and WCW, and then they made their own ECW. CM Punk was kind of the indie darling back then. You heard all about the CM Punk guy, right? He came in, and to be honest with you, the first little while I wasn't that impressed either. I didn't see what the whole thing was. But he did improve. He did grow. He was somebody who was given a world championship well before people thought he needed the world championship. A couple times actually he won Money in the Bank. He is amazing on the microphone. And you mentioned Chris Jericho. One of his best feuds in WWE was with Chris Jericho that ended in a WrestleMania. Should have been more of a main event than it was. It was kind of in the middle of the card for the championship. He is good in the ring. Does he elevate people like a Chris Jericho? I would say no on that. I would say he works well with people, though. He wrestles to the person he's wrestling with, with their strengths. But I think, and Rod, please correct me if I'm wrong here, or if I'm not giving the whole picture, CM Punk is that microphone. He really, people in the WWE and WWE fans weren't all into him until he did that pipe bomb moment where he sat down and he just went off on everybody. And that was one of the biggest storylines. And we cannot forget that Money in the Bank storyline where he beat John Cena for the title, where no one knew what was going to happen afterwards. People thought he was done with the company, and he was done with the company until that day when McMahon said to him, and I quote, "Looks like you got me bent over a chair here, kid." That's what CM Punk said, that McMahon said. And then they signed the deal then, obviously, because he wasn't walking out with the title and not a contract. But that was a very compelling storyline, and that kind of catapulted him up. Rod.
Yeah, but again, all you're playing off of is him basically being a malcontent there, right? And so I just I don't know, man. I need something more than this guy's a wild card and this guy's going to say some things that are going to anger some people and I'm going to ruffle some feathers and I'm going to talk about things that people don't want to talk about. And you know what I mean? Okay, man, I guess I'll be open to it because you're right. It's wrestling. Why not bring them all in under the tent? You know what I mean? It's a big show. So let's just do it. But I'm not a CM Punk guy.
My favorite would be CM Punk coming back and getting the world championship match at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, going against everything he ever stood for, because when The Rock came back, The Rock took his spot at WrestleMania. So I just think that would be kind of an ironic twist. I do not see that happening, by the way. What do we have going on the More Than You Know Podcasting Network, Rod?
We have our guy, Josh Williams, the handicapper, doing his thing as always over on Balls and Brew. But if you're not a wrestling person and you're not a sports person and you love the Morgan You Know's pop culture arm here on the network, we got the show for you. We've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. Jimmy was working on it in the lab for a while, and now it is out. It is pristine. It is perfect for the people. It is our comedy movie draft. I listened back to it just this morning. It is a lovely, lovely listen. And if you want to hear Chris take even more guff than he does on this podcast, you absolutely have to listen to the comedy movie draft.
Doesn't matter how much guff you guys try to give me. I won that draft, and the listeners will understand that once they listen to the pod.
There's absolutely no way you won that draft. And
No
Jimmy,
way.
I'll throw you some flowers here, my friend. You and I believe, are really going to be neck and neck for this one. Your roster of 5 movies versus my roster of 5 movies is pretty tough, man. It's like a mega powers explode match there, Jimmy. It's Hogan Savage.
You have a movie on your list that's not even a comedy, Rod.
Do you want to talk about movies on lists that I can't even YouTube anything funny about it because it's in a different language? You want to talk about that, Chris?
It's not
talk about how long it took me to figure out even anything. I'm like, you know what? She screams. We're going to go with that. We're going to go with that one because no one can read.
You're not cultured. The listeners will understand what I'm talking about. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm not cultured.
Oh, there's no chance the listeners are going to vote with you, dude. There's no chance. Listen, I am more sure that you're going to get the lowest amount of votes in this draft than I've been sure about any draft we've had before.
I'm more sure about you getting the lowest number of votes in this draft than I'm sure that the Chargers are going to the Super Bowl like I said they would. Okay? That's how sure I am. And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows podcast network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
Goodbye, net. Yeah.